your presence here today is a symbol, a sign of hope that America can become the country that it claims to be. I wrote this poem for Black History Month last year. Angela had a chance to hear it and knew that this celebration was coming up and asked if I could tweak it a bit. And so a lot of the history that you've heard, I've distilled into the poem that I wrote last year, and I hope that you will enjoy it. It's called I Sing Their Names, and this is the Weston, Missouri remix. It opens with a quote from James Baldwin. History is not the past, it is the present. We carry our history with us. We are our history. I know of a place on the bank of the Missouri River, at the crossroads of the Santa Fe and Oregon trails, home of the Sac, Fox, Kansas, and Kickapoo, a place where York, strolling ahead of Lewis and Clark, set his left foot down and the whole world tilted west. A place where our ancestors broke their backs breaking hemp, laying bricks to build a town called Weston. A town that almost forgot them. A town not unlike a town 30 miles downriver that called out to my grandfather, Basil North Sr., who came from Hartville, Missouri, which he left when he was 16 on a mule that he bought and rode 118 miles to Jefferson City, Missouri to attend Lincoln University. He later saved up enough to send for my grandmother. They both became educators and moved to Kansas City. Their love story is much like that of the one that is told of Angela and Joyce's great-great-grandmother, Dinah Wright Robinson, who as a laundress and a seamstress purchased herself free, then the freedom of her husband Thomas and their children, Moses and Eliza Jane. Yes, we must remember their names. These are our origin stories. Maybe that's why we love this country even when it doesn't love us. Still proud to claim these towns where we are from because we know who came before us. Our feet are firmly planted on their shoulders. Those whose light shines brightly beyond February, right into eternity. And so I sing of Langston and Parker, Miss Bluford and Mary Lou, Old Buck, Leon Jordan, Horace and Bruce, Sarah Rector, Junius Groves, Tom Bass, and Anna Jones, Chester Franklin, Bernard Powell, and D.A. Holmes, Dinah Robinson, Raymond Didell, Moses Wilson, and Mabel Emery Bell. I chant their names almost as if holy because you have to be careful about who you allow to teach your history. Like Malcolm said, folks that won't treat you right won't teach you right. We must tell our own stories, reclaim the narrative. I say read, research, collect, interpret, curate, archive, document, observe, and report. There is a little brown girl in a classroom who has no idea how beautiful her Afro puffs are, and she needs to know. There is a little brown boy who doesn't see himself reflected in a biased curriculum, so he loses interest, gets labeled with a behavior disorder, drops out, runs across the right cop on the wrong day, and becomes a headline and a hashtag. He needed to know. There are little white children in schools all over America being taught that the world revolves around them before they grow up to believe that it does. They need to know. I know of a place that was once as far west as you could go, where more than 400 wandering souls are now free at last, where we travel back to the future by remembering the past. This is the home of countless Black lives that certainly mattered. I have no choice but to sing their names. Thank you.
Glenn North, thank you, Glenn. Glenn North's poem, I Sing Their Names, was commissioned by the Local Investment Commission, LINC, for a Black History Project. And it looks like this, and it's available free at the Black Ancestors Awareness Campaign booth, and along with a one-of-a-kind gift shop and commemorative items in the back booth. Thank you, Glenn North. That was fabulous. All right. Let's see. I'd like to take a moment to bask in this moment and say happy Father's Day and happy Grandfather's Day to all of the fathers and grandfathers in the audience. So give yourself a round of applause. Tomorrow, the Black Ancestors Awareness Campaign of Weston, affectionately known as BAC, will celebrate a full calendar year. We will be 1 year old. And it is with pride that I reflect upon how far we have come since our inception. We have so much to be grateful for. And I'm thankful for every growing pain we've endured and the abundant blessings that grew out of those pains. BAC is now an official standing committee of the Weston Historical Museum. And we're so much more, but we don't have time to get into all of that. So rather than singing happy birthday, we now offer you two very special debuts. One is an original composition composed by Pamela Baskin-Watson, who was with us last year, and the lyrics are by yours truly, Angela Hagenbach. And we composed this song to highlight our plight from slavery to freedom, inclusion, and recognition, entitled Weston Belongs to You and Me. And secondly, a newly formed vocal ensemble to perform it for you. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Weston's very own Heritage Jubilee Singers.
Weston is for you, Weston is for me. History tells us that we have a story that began in hardship. Now we live in unity. Weston belongs to you and me. Weston is for you, Weston is for me. History tells us that we have a story that began in hardship. Now we live in unity. Weston belongs to you and me. Along the Missouri, a town called Weston came into being in 1837. Land was rich and so full of game. Weston belongs to you and me. Oh, as we were brought here from old Kentucky and the fields of Virginia to Green Black County, and our families in the hills of Weston. Weston belongs to you and me. Weston is for me. History tells us that we have a story that began in hardship. story that began in hardship. Now we live in unity. Weston belongs to you and me. Weston belongs. Yeah. Weston belongs to you and you and you and me.
Ladies and gentlemen, the historic, what are we called again? The Heritage Jubilee Singers.